Thank you. Jared?
I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And whereas you have closed that debate, I would want to take a tangent from what both the majority and minority leaders have talked about, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we have lately seen discordant voices, especially emanating from the presidency. And the presidency is composed of the president, the deputy president, the cabinet, and those others in that chain, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, whereas I would be least concerned about what happens in Kenya Kwanza, but when these matters have potential to create disunity in our country, then I will be very much concerned, Honorable Speaker. In Bungoma, where you played a very good host to the most successful Madaraka days ever in this country, I did realize, Honorable Speaker, that 40 minutes later, when the president had sat down, the deputy president showed up. And the president of the Republic of Kenya had to welcome his deputy, which is totally a break from tradition, Honorable Speaker. On Sunday, during an event of the Akorino brothers in Nakuru, the deputy president arrived 1 hour after the president had sat down. And just next to that president was his seat, which was being warmed by the Minister for Water and Irrigation, my friend Zachary Njeru. And when he showed up, he started, castigating the weather. He started castigating his means of transportation and many other things, Honorable Speaker. Yesterday, to my dismay, the deputy president took a commercial flight to Mombasa and was hauling his own bag, getting into the aircraft, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this House appropriates and budgets for travels of the deputy president, Honorable Speaker. And at no given time have we ever envisaged a situation where he takes a commercial flight. But if he takes solace out of commercial flights, then it is upon and incumbent upon this House to reduce his travels by 95%, because we know what is being charged by commercial flights and the rates that are being charged by chartered flights, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, whereas this government is barely 2 years in office, we have listened to quite disdainful statements emanating from the office of the Deputy President. And I want to ask you, Honorable Speaker, that the majority leader here present to shed more light over these issues, because they touch on us as the consumers of government services, Honorable Speaker. Whereas a lot has already been spoken about regarding sugar and the loans that were offset by the government, Honorable Speaker, just yesterday, in a cabinet meeting, 6 billion shillings owed by coffee farmers was cancelled by the cabinet, Honorable Speaker. And there is no fury about it. But when the same government cancels debts owed by government-owned sugar mills, then it becomes a matter of concern by one particular governor of Nyeri, Honorable Speaker, who has since abrogated himself the role of a spokesperson of somebody else, Honorable Speaker. You know, I've always believed that governors are so busy.
Your point.
I've always believed, Honorable Speaker, that governors are too busy to even indulge in issues holding brief for others, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, these are fundamental, germane, and salient issues that, left unchecked, have the potential to create bigger problems for this country that we all love. So I implore upon my very good friend, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, the MP for Kikuyu, to shed more light on these matters. Otherwise, if there is a real problem that
the deputy president is suffering, that as a house we can help him solve, that this is the right platform. But if he's creating, disunity and playing victim at the same time, so that a particular section of the government would go a different way, then we want to know and call him to order. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the...
Yes, member for Kahawa.
Mr. Speaker, Norwaraka. Mr. Speaker, in as much as this is music to my ear, but we are slowly digressing from the business of the House. I have heard names being made here. And Mr. Speaker, you are the biggest advocate of protection, that persons must not be named here adversely without a substantive motion. That side has a majority, supermajority, so they say. There is nothing that stops them from dragging that Gachagua here so that they can impeach him. They can impeach him so easily by bringing him here and vote against him. So why should we divert from business of this House and enter into some charade and hypocrisy and politics instead of doing business which is before us? We know what you people are saying. We know the politics you are doing. But we also have our politics. We don't want to turn this place into a political arena. We know that this matter has been choreographed. Who doesn't know that?
Order, Honorable Kajwang. Order. Yes, that is Atandi.
Honorable Speaker, I didn't want to enter into this conversation, but Honorable Speaker, let the truth be said. The governor of Nyeri did not say anything out of this world. The governor of Nyeri was simply saying that there is no equity in sharing of national cake, and that's a fact. That when you look at the budget we have just passed here, so many sections of this country are not receiving projects. And the governor of Nyeri, as a leader elected by Nyeri residents, must fight for the welfare of Nyeri residents. So, Honorable Speaker, I think let us stem this discussion. The national cake is not being shared equitably. Most parts of this country are not receiving resources. And I want to support him. Let us not be a government that preaches unity because it is favoring us. Because if there is chaos, people who are stealing will not steal. You don't steal in chaos. You steal when there is unity. So we don't want this conversation about unity because we need unity and peace so that we can be able to steal in peace. Let us be genuine about unity. If you're talking about unity, let it be about genuine unity. You can't tell me that you are preaching unity here, but there's no development that is coming to my area. You can't tell me you want Kenyans to be united because the preaching you are giving us is for your good. So the Nyeri governor should not be discussed here, Honorable Speaker, unfairly. And I agree with him. The government must ensure equity in sharing of national cake so that all Kenyans can be happy and be peaceful and be united. You cannot be united in statements, in empty statements. Let us be united. Let us have real unity. Real unity is about how many resources, how much money is going to Siaya, vis-a-vis how much money is going to Kiambu. How much money is going to Washington vis-a-vis how much money is going to Kisumu. That is the unity that I want to hear about, not unity, empty statements about unity. I support the Nyeri governor. Thank you.
Yes, Osoro. Yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what is happening today, or in the recent past, started like a joke from what many considered as mere statements by very top leaders of this country. It started from statements like, the shareholders claiming that there are some communities that really did not contribute to the formation of this government, calling other people shareholders and other people traitors, and people kept quiet. But, Honorable Speaker, if this House keeps quiet, the trend this country is taking will take us back to 2007, 2008, if we are not careful. Because it started from one particular leader, then it went down to what we'll call his supporters, or he recruited some speakers or a mouthpiece to speak on his behalf. And the recent utterances, Honorable Speaker, really shocked the nation, where somebody is questioning on the division of the national cake, how it should actually be shared, that it should be shared on how people voted. I mean, this is shocking. What he did say is that if we go by that formula that he was proposing, then he should also propose that a certain section of people or a region should then not pay taxes. They should also not contribute to the national cake in terms of paying of taxes. That is exactly what the governor of Nyeri meant. And that is extremely selfish, being extremely selfish. But more important, Honorable Speaker, to what Honorable Okello has raised, yesterday was a bit embarrassing. This House passed last year's budget, 2023-2024, and they allocated funds to every arm of government. The executive got their vote, and in particular, the presidency got a budget to help them run their affairs. Every member of this House and even members of public know very well that each office is well equipped with a team of people, with a team that helps people that move around, the executive, members of the executive to move around, like His Excellency the Deputy President. It was a shame, Honorable Speaker, to see His Excellency the Deputy President moving around, carrying a bag, in as much as one wants to pull some PR stunts with, and I say this, Honorable Speaker, with tremendous respect. We should question, it is about time we question the members of staff that work with His Excellency the Deputy President. Where were they when he was carrying the bag? Where were they when they were taking pictures, and some of them, of course, standing behind him as he pulled the bag, which looked very empty, Honorable Speaker. And I think it must have been bought from the airport, Honorable Speaker. Because in as much as we appreciate the fact that...
Order, Honorable Soro. I think what Jared Okello asked was legitimate. But let's not digress into discussing the conduct of the person, of the Deputy President. Jared Okello asked whether, and I saw it in the reason I allowed him to ask that, seek that statement from the majority leader, is that the person of the Deputy President of this country is a responsibility of everybody. His movement to any part of the country has security implications. How he travels, who he travels with, where he goes, has security implications. So I saw it in the context that it is not a matter that is normal to see our Deputy President towing a bag on the airside to the aircraft, because you have appropriated resources to facilitate the work of the office of the presidency. That is how I understood Okello's concern. And Okello was seeking the majority leader to assure the country whether this is something subnormal or this is something that is near normal, or somebody is saying is the new normal, but in security terms, it is not normal. And that's what I expect the majority leader to tell this House. So anybody who seeks to speak to this can only confine yourself within that context. If you start discussing the personal conduct of the Deputy President, I will not allow you. Yes, KJ. What's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I was seeking to find out if the leader, the whip is in order, and you have guided so well, Mr. Speaker, on the points that we have to confine ourselves into. But the whip was also deviating into even taking a mickey on very serious professions, Mr. Speaker. He's talking about the Deputy Speaker taking a PR show to the runway. And I would like for the whip to understand that PR as a practice in itself is a very respectable profession. But most importantly, you also got to understand, Mr. Speaker, and I have to put this straight, that the Deputy President is on record saying that he is a product of the drama festival. He has acted on stage, in plays, even at the University of Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. So if he decides to put up a play, it is not the place of the whip to call him out on putting up a PR show, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Deputy President is very serious about supporting the talents in this country. Only a few days ago, Mr. Speaker, the Deputy President was there for the launch of the Bahati show, Mr. Speaker. We might have had a continuation of the same show on the side, on the runway of at the JKI, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I was seeking to find out if the whip is in order to take a mickey at very serious professions. The profession of PR and public relations, the profession of actors, and even the people who chase clout for content, Mr. Speaker, for TikTok, are also doing a serious job, Mr. Speaker. So I would want you to find the whip out of order totally, Mr. Speaker, for deviating from the issues as you directed. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Order, honorable members, honorable KJ. The act of a Deputy President towing a travel bag on a runway is not a display of talent. And it cannot be. Yes, Osoro, wind up.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand guided, and I'll not delve into the conduct of His Excellency Deputy President. But Honorable Speaker, nothing stops any member of this House from bringing the conduct of His Excellency Deputy President, especially when it's a shame to the country, Honorable Speaker. But if it's a reality show, as Honorable KJ has said, then I think it's important for us to appreciate him and say reality shows pay, and the young people have also shown that clearly reality shows are paying. And in fact, people are saying even TikTok pays. And the very first time I saw that video, Honorable Speaker, His Excellency Deputy President towing the bag was actually on TikTok.
Honorable members, reduce your consultations. Wind up.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. So generally, Honorable Speaker, what I'm saying is that members, any public officer, any public servant, Honorable Speaker, right from the top, His Excellency the President, downwards, to all those people that have been given the privilege to serve in this country, should be careful on the utterances they make and their conduct in public. And it's at this point sometimes, Honorable Speaker, that we ask whether clearly NCIC is operational. Because at this point, we should be seeing the governor for Nyeri being summoned and questioned for his utterances against a certain community and profiling some communities as lesser human beings, Honorable Speaker. And we should also be seeing, the people raising questions on Chapter 6 of the conduct of even some members, senior members of the executive, on how they carry themselves in public. But to also applaud the Deputy President, Honorable Speaker, and appreciate him for deciding to spend less, and use a commercial flight to Mombasa. That is now what we want. That is how we move around. That he is able now to pay.
Zamzam, wind up.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Na mimi nataka nielezee wabunge wenzangu mambo yanayotendeka si mambo ya kucheka. Mheshimiwa Spika, sisi tunajua majukumu ya naibu wa rais. Na hata kama leo pengine Mheshimiwa Spika wewe pia ungefanywa hivyo, tungesimama hapa kuweza kukutetea, kwa sababu kuna bajeti ambayo imewekwa na tumemwona mara kadhaa akilalamika kuwa ndege imemwacha, ameambiwa sijui kuna hivi na vile. Kwa hiyo kuna shida katika taifa letu, na mimi naomba ikiwezekana Mheshimiwa Rais na Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais waweze kukaa chini, haya matatizo yaishe, kwa sababu Kenya ni yetu sisi sote. Na hata alivyoongea yule governor wa kule Nyeri, amezungumza makosa, kwa sababu ugavi wa rasilimali unafaa uende sawa katika taifa nzima, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na kama alikuwa anataka kutetea pengine naibu wa rais, asingetumia matamshi yale, kwa sababu yanazidi kuleta sintofahamu. Kama ile mashini ya miwa kule, ilikuwa ni haki wao kupewa fidia kuweza kuregesha ule mtambo wa miwa, Mheshimiwa Spika. Lakini kwa yote ile pia sisi kumuona katika ndege ambao ni abiria wa kawaida bila hata security, Mheshimiwa Spika, ilikuwa inatatiza ile image ya taifa la Kenya, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo mimi naomba, na nimeona hata wabunge katika mikutano wakizungumza, wakirusha cheche za maneno. Wakati huu Wakenya wana matatizo, bidhaa zinapanda juu. Inafaa wakati huu tuwe tunaongea juu ya finance bill, Mheshimiwa Spika, lakini tetesi ambazo zinakuja katika taifa hili wakati huu ni vipi deputy president anatembea, naibu wa rais ametembea na begi, sijui imekuwa vipi. Kama kuna matatizo, mimi naomba hasa wale ambao wako upande wa mrengo ule, sisi tulizoea matatizo yetu, manake tulipigwa mkatucheka na sasa kimewaramba. Lakini yote tisa, muweze kukaa chini, muweze kutatua matatizo yenu. Hata mkimshika leo spika wa bunge hili, kwa vile yuko mrengo ule, nione mtu anamletea na ile haki zake za kimsingi anapokonywa, kama mama Zamza, mtasimama nitazungumza, kwa sababu akipatikana yeye leo, kesho mwingine atafanziwa hivyo. Tumeona hata kule kwa rais aliyostaafu kumetokea pia tetesi. Mambo haya yanafaa yakae chini, kila mmoja apate haki yake, na tuangalie sasa maslahi ya Wakenya. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Mkunji.